All right, so let's get going with the positioning of the root first. So I'm going to start with this, the root or the hips. I'm going to go to the front view. Actually, first I'm going to hide all this proxy geometry. Just select it from here, and just so we can see her body a lot better. I'm just going to create a temporary layer and put it on the layer. Now I'm going to go to my front view, and I'm going to use the fit skeletons main control to size this up until my root is around the iliac crest. Now the iliac crest of the pelvis lands around here, right? So this is the diagram of our pelvis from Google, and this right here is the iliac crest. This is pretty much a nice place that I like to have my waist pivot from, at least from this character. I think you can also try to put that joint maybe at the ACES or PICES, or which is the anterior superior iliac spine, which I think is right there. This probably, yeah, this showcases it better, anterior superior iliac spine. But I like for it to be here where it makes an impression on the surface for some people. So that's around here. It would, in this figure, that iliac crest would be something like this, and then the bucket of the pelvis will be like here. So it's kind of around here. So that's where I'm going to put that. Just try to figure out where you feel like it will be best to put this root or hip joint. Now I'm going to go to the left view, and I'm going to move the root. I'm going to hold the W key to go to world, so I can move straight forward, and I'm going to try to make sure it's in the center of the mesh, around there. All right, go back into perspective. And now it's time to go to the front view because it's time to position this hip joint. Now this hip joint, I feel safer with it around the greater trochanter area. The greater trochanter of the femur is around here. For women, it's around the place where you have like a dip, where after that you have more fat on the thigh. Let me see if I can get the diagram of the greater trochanter. Yeah, it's right about there, right there. But because this is a 3D model, when we're rigging, we like to keep these joints in the center of the mesh. So as far as the height is concerned, I will shoot for where the greater trochanter is, but I do want to be in the center of the mesh. All right, as close to the center as possible. And it looks like we're a little bit below the greater trochanter, right? That would probably be about around here. I might be estimating it wrong because there is an angle downward. It does angle downwards like this aggressively. So this is the femoral head of the femur, that's the greater trochanter, and from the pelvis it does angle downwards. So I might be overshooting, thinking it's a little higher here. But whilst I'm thinking about that, I am definitely also concerned more with making sure it's in the center of the mesh. All right, so now I'm going to go to the left view, and this looks like at about a good spot as far as being in the center of the mesh. It looks fine. Typically, I don't like to play around with this alignment here. I know that Advanced Skeleton has it at somewhat of an angle, but the advice I've had is always to have these in alignment. But I think Advanced Skeleton can deal with this fine. There won't be any weird hip behavior, even though there's a weird offset. So I think I could definitely get away with moving this just slightly bit back so that it's in the center of the mesh. Now I'm going to go to the front view, and I'm going to start planning for the ankle right now by doing a rotation that allows the ankle joint to be more in the center of the mesh, because this is something I'm going to have to deal with later down the line by coming up here to the hip and rotating it. So I'm just going to deal with it now. Then I'll go to the left view, and yeah, for now I'm just going to leave it because a lot of this will have to be repositioned after I deal with the knee. All right, so to deal with the knee, I'm first going to move this up just a little bit. This knee that we have here is advanced skeleton's knee, and it is going to be the one that sits at the head of the tibia right here. If you remember when we were going over the double knee solutions, one of the two joints of the knee is going to sit around the head of the tibia. And to get the other one, I'm going to hit F to drill down to the knee, and I'm going to duplicate the entire knee chain. So I'm going to go Control G to get an entire knee chain, and then I'm going to hit the plus button here to delete everything under it, because I only need this, right? And I'm going to rename it knee additional. Now, it's very important with advanced skeleton that you don't use any spaces. It doesn't like any spaces. It will give you an error on build if you're using underscores and stuff. And what I'm going to do now is grab advanced skeleton's knee and then parent it under this additional knee. So now it's time to place this additional knee. I'm going to hold down the D key so that all movements only affect the parent joint that I'm moving and not its children. And I'm going to place this at around here, which is where the tail of the femur would be. And I'm going to do the same. Well, with this one, it's fine for me to move it around because I'm going to have to reposition everything down here anyways. So I'm going to find a comfortable position that allows advanced skeleton to know the direction that this has to bend in, right? So if I was to grab the foot here and I was to move it to the center of the mesh, yes, I think this is relatively dangerous to have it like this, because this could be confusing. So I'm going to hold on the D key and move it forward a little bit and just keep moving it so that I have the suggested angle is very clearly this back area here. I don't want it to bend forward. I think I showcased it in the previous video. I'm going to keep moving this till we're in the center. Yeah, I think this will suffice. I think this is good enough to tell it which direction to go in. Hold down the D key and move it just a little bit more. All right, let's check in the front view, look what it looks like. Go to the front, and yes, it looks good. It looks pretty much in the center. I'm going to grab this and move it just slightly, and that would require another rotation to get that. I think you could do incremental rotations. Let me find out which. Okay, so it's the y-axis. I think if I hold down Control, I think that's too much, but I think if you hold down Shift, you can do smaller rotations as you dial in the viewport, and that pretty much places it at a good place. I don't want to have a kink from the front view. I don't mind playing in the profile because we know that's where it's going to bend, but in the front view, just to avoid issues with the pole vector, I just like to keep it as straight as it was presented. So in the front view, I just want everything to travel straight down. We do have an update button now, which I'm going to use, and that is going to fix all orientations. You can actually do this entire thing in fit mode, so every time you move, it reorients automatically, but I prefer to hit the update now button after I'm done positioning everything. So I think this is good. I think this is going to work. Let me go into the left view one more time and see if there's anything I could do to further make the hinting of this direction better. I'll move this just slightly backward. Yeah, I think should be fine. Hold down D, move this a little bit forward. So now I'll leave it right there. Okay, so that should be the knee, the double knee. And we'll see how it turns out on build. All right, so we'll continue placing the fit skeleton in the next lesson.